All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Lotus Scope. I am your diviner today, May Jin, and you see the thumbnail, you see the title. Today we are going to be doing a reading on Jay-Z's, I believe it was a GQ interview. I actually had this tarot reading planned like 2 weeks ago in response to some things coming to light in regards to kind of like the Joe Budden podcast and Charlemagne kind of coming forward. Oh, and I think it was also a pastor friend of Jay-Z's who actually spoke at, was it Al Sharpton's funeral? All of this information coming out in regards to kind of like how Jay-Z has behaving behind the scenes in regards to kind of like, yes, he has been paying attention to what people say about him. Yes, he has been, like whacking people over the head behind the scenes when they ridicule him, that he doesn't like when people divulge certain information about them, that there has been several cease and desists served to people, or like threats or phone calls received by podcasters and other media coverage, whether traditional or non-traditional, in regards to how they portray Jay-Z or speak on certain incidences and things like that that's going on in his life and his wife. But something told me to hold off on that. And now I see why. Because this man planned to interview, and if you ask me, there's a few things. It feels like a softball interview. It felt like watching Trump go on Joe Rogan, or Trump go on Tucker Carlson show. A lot of softball questions, not really following up on things, not really getting into the meat and potatoes of what the public and what people want to hear. It seems very curated and targeted. And I walked away with a few questions, a few things I'm curious about, and I'm sure you're probably curious about, and hopefully I'll be answering those questions. And then I also walked away with the sense that, this man could really run to be a politician, the way his word salad works. And the biggest takeaway for me was that, like, I believe towards the middle beginning of the interview, he was talking about a mystical they, a distant they, a guard, a vanguard they, of like keeping people down. But then he was also stating, but then he went against that, saying that, oh, well, because I believe the interviewer asked him something about, do you think people don't allow rap artists or Black artists to get to a certain level? And Jay-Z said something to the tune of, I want you to remove that from your category, from your vocabulary, because allow is not something, nobody can allow you to do anything because you control everything that's going on. To just go right back behind that and negate that by saying that, because the interviewer brought it up, actually, a story that Jay-Z told him about how he owned a 0.0 something percent of the, was it the Barclays Center deal, I believe it was, and that the person he was doing, the people, or the person he was mainly doing the deal with, Jay-Z thought he was in a higher level hotel room than him, and come to find out it was a whole nother level and he didn't know. And it was like, okay, so you want us to believe that you're in this weird gray area where you have been allowed to be the gatekeeper while also being the overseer and the minority at the same time. And although that can be true, all of those things can be true at once, I also don't like that he kind of is like playing in people's face as if he's this like lower class, as if he's an everyday person like me and maybe you. I don't know if you're an everyday person, but he's acting as if he's an everyday, I work hard for my money, everyday blue collar worker or something. Like, he's not barred from certain rooms, or even know that there's certain rooms there to be barred from. You know what I'm saying? You have a seat at the table. you're a lot closer than the rest of us, than the majority of us. So I find that very interesting. That was the biggest takeaway for me from this interview. But a few of the questions I wanted to ask getting into this is that, of course, the biggest thing was, a lot of people are going around saying, well, why didn't he outright address the Nikki situation? Some people think it's because he's talking about coming up with a lawsuit, because he also did mention in this interview that 2025 he was playing defense, and this year 2026 he's playing offense. Some people was wondering if that offense is him openly attacking Nikki, and or coming up with an album. He's supposed to be, this is a gearing up, a step to him releasing an album, because I believe he's supposed to be having like some big concert in New York, like the biggest one he's done in years. I don't know how the sales are going for that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's going well, because it seems like in real life, Jay-Z, a lot of people support him or give him money. They're going to be there for him. I think it's also very telling that he's doing this in New York and not somewhere else, because New York, of course, is going to have his back. That's his hometown. But then when you see people like on the internet, like with most things, there's a lot of hate and people like preying on his downfall, and it doesn't translate to real life like most things on the internet. However, that's one of the questions I want to get to. Why didn't he openly address Nikki? I am going off on several tangents here. Please keep up. Sorry. I do want to get into why did he decide to do this GQ interview now? What was the reason of him doing it? What was the reason for him trying to, especially the timing of it all, because I believe some people said it's rumored that he did this interview around the time Nikki was initially supposed to have been dropping her album, and she decided not to do it, or at least it doesn't appear as if she is going to do it. What did he mean by playing offense for the year 2026? Is there some upcoming album? And then going back to the original reason why I wanted to do this video is, how does he really feel about the public sentiment? Because there is a growing sentiment there of people not liking him because he's part of that. They see him as part of that elite class, the eat the rich kind of mentality. Because he even said it in this interview, like, I don't really care what people say about me. I don't care that people are saying there shouldn't be billionaires, because I'm still making money. I'm still out here making moves and doing what I want to do. Very capitalistic of him, right? So I think you can kind of clearly see where I kind of stand on this. I really sincerely don't think him and his wife should have that much money, with as much. Yes, they have worked hard. Yes, they have put their best foot forward, I guess. But it's crazy that this amount of wealth is concentrated amongst a very small group of people, and then everyone else is kind of like left to the wayside. It's in capitalism. I just don't think there's enough room by design for everyone to succeed, for everyone to survive, and not even thrive, to survive. So yes. So I do want to talk about that. And then I also want to get in a little bit to what's the real relationship, what's the real tea between him and J. Cole's like fallout. Because again, if you don't know, and this has only come like clear to me within like the last like 5 or so years, that there's been like a rift, a beef brewing between or a proxy war brewing between Jay-Z and J. Cole. And if you didn't know, J. Cole used to be signed to Jay-Z back in the day. So or he was or the agency, the management agency or something. They had some kind of connection back in the day. And so they worked really close with one another. And so I'm interested to see what's going to come up, if anything is going to come up from the cards in regards to that. The other thing I want to mention before I get into this reading, just want to clear out the space, get it all out. I mentioned something earlier where he was talking about how he doesn't think there should be a billionaire class, and he doesn't care what people think about him, and all this other stuff. He's still going to get money. And he was saying that he got here without devolving into like exploiting the system or getting over on somebody or getting some trick of the trade. I'm sorry. My hackles raised on that bullshit. I call it bullshit. I don't believe it. That's me. That's my personal opinion. I believe that's complete and utter bullshit. Not in the industry. I don't believe it. That part of the whole reason why the industry thrived the way it does is exploitation. Exploitation. Period. Point blank. I don't know. Maybe he has a different way of doing it and he doesn't see it that way. Yeah, that was the other key point from this interview where I was like, I call bullshit, Bubba. But whatever. Now that I have went on 3,000 freaking tangents and gave you the premise of what I want to do in this reading, I do want to clarify that if I am the first person or this is the first time you watching me do divination or taromancy, think of me as a spiritual translator. I like to use the cards as a way for me to I kind of say like get into a trance or meditate on what spirit is providing me. But of course, sometimes with me using this medium and this practice, there is going to be room for me to mistranslate or misinterpret something. But I try my best to give you the information as I am receiving it and how I have received it as best as I can. But because I am human and I am not perfect and I do not see what spirit sees and I'm not all knowing, I can mess up and I will mess up. And I'm okay with that. And I hope you're okay with that. And if you are, we can proceed forward through this reading. For those of you who don't understand what I'm saying there, if that was a little too woo-woo for you and above your head, please refer to the line here where it says all statements made are alleged for entertainment purposes only. Okay. For those of you who want to do a I gotcha and you didn't clarify this or you misspoke on this, as in the beginning of this video, as you have clearly already seen me do, I try to differentiate when I am giving my opinion, when I am giving facts, things that have actually transpired, and things that as I remember them to be. Okay? I try to differentiate that. Now, if you don't understand that, your comprehension skills are not there, please click off and go somewhere else because I don't want those problems. Now, y'all can tell I'm in a certain type of mood because I'm usually not that rude. But I'm going to get into this. I'm going to put these oracle cards to the side and we are going to get into this reading. If you see me pause for a minute and I'm like looking off to the side, I have my phone off to the side over here for the questions that I have because I was just listening to it. And so I had to write them down as I was going through the interview for like the big questions that I had. So I think it's only fair that first and foremost, we start off with the reason why he decided to do this GQ interview. I am so sorry if I'm messing up the publication or whatever that did the interview. I believe it was a GQ interview though. I'm pretty sure. But let's see. Why did Jay-Z decide to come forward and do... I didn't even form the whole question. That's why I'm not counting these cards. Why did Jay-Z decide to come forward and do the GQ interview? Oh, I have so many cards wanting to come out. Or they did come out. Okay, so I'm gonna read these out first. I feel like, did these fall first? I'm not sure. Okay, let me move this over. So I'm gonna reshuffle these, but if I had to take it at face value, like if these were all the ones that were meant to fall out, I would say, of course, he's concerned about his financials. Public sentiment, how the public feels about you, that very much can affect your money, especially right now where a lot of people are feeling, and rightfully so, vindictive and spiteful against those or angry, upset, sad, disturbed, perturbed by those who were even rumored to be involved or in the same room with Epstein or doing any kind of business with him, or those, again, who are perceived to be a part of that upper echelon, that upper class, the rich, the Epstein class. A lot of people feel some type of way about them. And I can see here where, of course, this interview is about, hey, I need to watch out for my fortune. I think there has been some things behind the scenes where maybe certain deals or certain negotiations or certain relationships and stuff like that, which I highly doubt. I doubt the relationship part because I feel like people who are um, in those certain room have a class solidarity where us at the bottom do not, which I wish we did. They have a certain type of class solidarity, and I feel like they would be more inclined to work with him. And I feel like you see that very evidently in the spaces in the rooms that Jay-Z walk in. A lot of people used him to infiltrate into Black spaces, hip hop spaces, to get certain deals through, and he make it look good and polish it up. Hello, NFL. Hello, was that the Ciroc company or something, Hennessy? Correct me if I'm wrong. Hello, Barclays Center deal. Hello, was it the Marcy Projects thing that he was trying to do? Like all of the things that he seems to put his hands in it's like his white people backdooring off of his popularity and things like that in order to get deals through, and him branding it or polishing it up to make it look good again, despite him railroading, because it's not even throwing people under the bus. He's like railroading people over to get these deals and things like that, if you ask me personally. So yeah, I can see how that will be something that come up. Yeah, it's to change his image, I think too. That's a worry. Because the mice is like a worry or a concern about something that's kind of like nibbling away at your conscience. The snake here, people not seeing you as an honest character. The clouds can be, it's usually things that's like obscure. So it's like him trying to clean it up. It's like a brand washing. The book usually being here is like, usually when I see the book, it kind of comes across like a diary sometimes. It's like secrets being revealed or like, clearing the air essentially. Then we also do have the marketplace here, and this is coming up reverse. This is kind of like options and things like that. So to me, it feels like I'm like, once again, I'm going out here to set things straight because of things that's going on. This is the bed. Plain and simple, I think is I usually say it's the bed card is in relations to who you get in bed with, business wise, relationship wise, romantic wise. It's been a lot of conversation of that's been going on. So I can see why these cards kind of came out in the first place. But let's see. Had to mix those up in there. It seemed like he was trying to do a soft way of addressing things without getting too in the weeds and without mistakenly drawing attention to certain things as well. Ooh, I bent this card. I caught it right between my legs. And it's the man card coming up in reverse. Okay, I feel like these are the three cards here. Oh, it's actually four. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is the Tower card, and the Tower card in the Lenormand is not like the Tower card in Tarot. The Tower card in Lenormand is loosely or most of the time has something to do with like those. Think about, how can I say it, like entities, those large controlling entities like your government, or if you, I don't know if you happen to be in the Vatican, it's ran by the church. It's talking about those larger corporations, entities that control and rule the world. I guess in this case, it could be media, it could be the political climate that's going on here in the US. I'm not sure exactly what the tower could be pointing to, but that's, if I had to assume, that's what I would think it is. Then we also do have the lilies here. And the lilies, for me, is usually kind of like a especially with it coming up in reverse, it's usually like not like an apology, but like a remembrance of something that was going on. I forget what they call them at, like, I don't want to be morbid here, but like when you give somebody like a bereavement wreath or something like that. That's kind of like the energy I get with the lilies here. The fox, of course, with it coming up reverse, is speaking to underhandedness, trickster, hidden agendas, yeah, energy. And then we have the heart here, and I think this plain and simple. I do think he was honest in saying that there was a lot of anger, maybe hurt that was going on, or that he experienced, and I don't know, maybe wanted to give his side of things. And I think it's also something I'm getting here is probably like also to show like he's not afraid of getting in front of a camera and addressing things, because I think he's kind of started to adopt the Beyonce way of things. Like, I don't think she does interviews at all. She unless she is in control of it, she's doing it through like a documentary or her music. And I feel like, I don't know if Beyonce has given him that idea, because I feel like in the later years of his life, especially when them two were kind of like really locked in, he was not doing interviews and stuff like that. So this is kind of like a rare thing for him to kind of come forward and do this interview. So I wonder if it's, oh, am I stuck? I'm trying to like wheel my chair. It kind of feels like maybe there is some like I'm trying to control the narrative here, but it's more so like, I just want to give my point of view on things. And because he isn't always accessing the usual medium through his music, and not sure if it will even land right with people or if enough people would hear it in order for things to get done. I know there's certain ways he could boost it and make it, appear in media and stuff like that. Maybe he didn't want to do that. Maybe he wanted to go something that made it look more authentic, but I think that is the reason behind it. Again, there is concern here. Now, I don't know if there is some secret concern or a concern over some secret being spilled because of how hot things have been for him lately, how under the microscope. But look, I think there is something he is trying to keep hidden. And I don't know if that's in regards to like his family or what, because the mice, again, that's a worry, just gnawing away at your worries. This book is like secrets again, and then we have the cloud here. This is something that's obscure, something that is hidden. Think of it almost kind of like the moon card. So I don't know if that's another reason. Is it, maybe it could be along the lines of a distraction, but let's see if we can get some clarity here. What was this card? It's eccentricity. Okay, the first card I get is escape. And it's coming up in reverse. Decision. Okay. It's very clear. I can tell you right now what's coming through for me is feels very clear. Yeah. Um Basically what I'm getting from this, the escape coming in reverse, the decision and practicality, it pretty much feels like the guillotine was over his neck. He knew eventually it was going to fall. He just didn't know which way it was going to fall. So instead of just standing there like a chicken waiting for the guillotine to fall, he decided to grease the wheels a little bit, fray the rope, blow the wind a little bit to where the hammer the cut will lay a certain way that he kind of wanted, or to kind of maybe dull it a little bit so it wouldn't be as sharp of a cut or something here. That's kind of like the thing here. It's like I knew one way or another the hammer, the other shoe was going to drop. So I'm trying to control or guide the way that I want the other shoe to drop. I know there's no way of avoiding this. It's going to come up eventually. I'm going to have to address it eventually. So I might as well wait till a perfect time to do so. When I'm ready to do so, and in a certain way that I'm ready to do so, and address it and guide it along in the way that I want. That's what that's coming up for me, clear as day. Oh, I wonder if it also has something to do with his relationship, because we do have companionship here, but I wonder if it also has something to do with the other relationships and business relationships that he has curated over the years. This is fulfillment. When I see fulfillment is coming up reverse, I'm sorry, Jay cannot tell me. This is where my opinion come in. In that interview, I think I stated this earlier. He was saying that he does not care about public opinion or what people say about him and things like that, because he's still getting to the bag, essentially. Loosely is what he was saying. Or at least that's what I heard. What I'm hearing Jay-Z say is, to me, there was some kind of disruption. Whether, if it wasn't from investors, it might have been from the way people on the internet have been spun into a frenzy around certain things his name has been attached to, and how the what is it, like, the image that the public have of him now has really changed, and the tune, he can feel the winds of change on his time and on his brand, and how people perceive him, and he's trying to kind of like change that gust of wind again to where he is blowing his sails along, because I feel like there has been some kind of interruption or some kind of slowdown in funds. And now that I think about it, I know some people say this is petty, because I also have the flirtation card that's coming up here in reverse as well. I would not be surprised if this was something that was encouraged, or something that kind of came to mind for him to do because of the things that's been going on, because now it is starting to affect his family. With the allegations, people are starting to look at Beyonce crazy. People are wondering like what's going on with that, and why she hasn't addressed it and she hasn't said nothing, and she's gearing up to drop her what is that, part 3 for her album. And I wonder, a lot of people saying like, oh, he's supposed to be dropping one. I wonder if he's coming out and doing this because his wife is gearing up to drop something, and so he's like, I have to change this around, because here's where my opinion come in at. Me personally, I feel like he is sort of, kind of, it could be, it can appear that way, where it kind of feels like he pimps out Beyonce in order to make money. Not saying that he can't make money and he doesn't know how to do business and this and this and that, but it kind of feels like sometimes he's pimping out his wife to make. I don't care. I don't. That's just my opinion. I said what I said. Um, I would be happy to be wrong, but appearance wise, that's how it comes across to me. Now, we've gotten into the why he did this interview. But let's see what's going on with him and J. Cole's relationship. What's the reason behind that fallout? I do not like that man. That was way too many cards. I'm not going to count that. I'm going to split these up though. I like this one to come. I do not like that man. Okay, so clearly these two do not like each other. Allegedly, allegedly. Okay, I want to start with this first. As I was looking at this card and I was pulling on the energies between them two, I do think Jay-Z is not, if I'm interpreting this correctly, because again, I'm a spiritual translator, I could misinterpret things. It does feel as if there's not any maliciousness on Jay-Z's part. I don't think like he's not going to extend his hand. I don't feel like he's going to extend his hand to help him, but to help J. Cole. But I also feel like he's not actively working to kind of like deter his growth or whatever that he's doing either. I kind of feel like he is very kind of nonchalant, not bothered by J. Cole at all. Whereas I think J. Cole, he's similar, but he's still very much of that mindset of like, hey, I'm not gonna actively say anything bad about you. I'm not gonna not say anything bad about you, but I'm also not gonna go on my way to like kiss you or make you look good or anything like that. And I also haven't forgot how you made me feel or how you did that thing that one time when you said you wasn't gonna do that thing that one time and how that blew up in my face. Because even with the star card coming up here in reverse for them, it's kind of like I'm not praying for the best for you. I'm not praying on your downfall. I really just want nothing else to do with you. If I never see you again, it couldn't be soon enough. But they also know, I think they both are of the mindset of just kind of like, I'm not going to actively tear down another black man, especially like J. Cole's like ideology. I'm not going to actively go out here and tear down another black man when I know what we up against, or I have a feeling or understanding of what we up against, and I don't want to contribute to that. Essentially, I feel like that's what the energy is here. It's just very much like, hey, we'll take a picture or something for, if it's something for the kids or something for Black excellence or whatever like that. But at the same time, I won't get in a deal with you. Like, I just won't trust it. Look, here we go. This damn diary, this book keeps coming up. Secrets, commitment, friends. I don't know what that's got to deal with. Maybe somebody can clarify that. Secrets, commitment, friend. Or knowledge, understanding, commitments. Okay. Was there a thing here maybe where Cole thought, oh, and I'm going to say this is a Cole thing because I don't think this was Jay-Z at all. I don't think this man likes or trusts anybody as far as he can see them. I wonder if there was a thing here where kind of like J. Cole felt that Jay was a friend and came to the realization that no, you're really just a business transaction for him. That's more so what that feels like to me. Okay. Look, he's full of drama. He sees J. Cole as drama. Empathy. I don't know why that would fall out. I don't know why romance came out either. Okay, let me focus. Maybe it's me. Okay, focus. Ostentation. And then practicality again. Yeah, why would the moon in Virgo? Again, the only thing that keeps coming through for me is just kind of like for the practicality is just like if it works for us, it work, or if it works for us, as in our people, okay. I'm not going to actively go after you as long as you don't actively come after me. We don't have to speak to each other. We don't have to speak about each other. We can just be kind about it. Say a few short words, give my blessings or whatever it may be, and move the fuck on. Like, we don't even have to stick on each other too long. Like, nah. It's really the energy that I'm getting. I don't know what happened between these two. But again, something makes me feel like it was along the lines of like J. Cole, because again, he came into the industry. I think he was maybe in his early 20s or so. But it just kind of gives me the energy of I maybe I bought into the idol you that was presented. How can I say? Yeah, I bought into the idol persona of you, where I thought you was like this philanthropist. You was really about helping out your people and all this other stuff. And I seen something that contradicted that, or I felt like didn't line up with what you were selling. And so we have a problem. Or at least I have a problem with you now, and I'm not quite sure if I can trust you like that. I saw you as a friend, but now I'm kind of seeing you as a frenemy, or, an enemy, or, yeah, I would say a frenemy. Like, I'm gonna keep you close or whatever, but I don't really want much to do with you, is really the energy that's giving up here. And again, with the ostentation card, that's driving the point home for me, where it's almost like, and I find this is so crazy coming on the heels of the Usher and Justin Bieber reading that I just did, which I will link up here in the iCard. They almost have a tumultuous relationship along the lines of kind of like what Justin Bieber has with Usher. I don't think these two would come to blows unless they was probably drunk and locked in a room together and forced to like fight it out or something. But I feel like they very much play nicey in public. They both understand why they don't like each other or why they avoid each other. It feels sort of along the same lines of like, hey, I trusted you. Yes, I know you signed me. Yes, I know it was supposed to be in business, but I thought you was also like down for the homies. I thought you was really close with us. I thought you was really down to earth, and you're really not. It's still, at the end of the day, again, maybe this was done for business, but it really feels like some snake it really feels sly. It really feels like you do anything for $1. And Jay is like, hey, that's just the way the game is, the business. And I can see both sides of this. I can understand that clear as day. Stability comes up here in reverse. First thing out the gate, what I'm getting with this adaptability, and I feel like this is also something I picked up with Beyonce when she like kind of like her relationship with Chloe and Halle. I think they try a very different way of how they want their artists that they have signed to operate, and they expect uh maybe they expect a lot out of them. I'm not sure exactly, but maybe they have certain expectations or certain rules and regulations they want them to follow. And when they don't, they kind of just like leave them to their own devices, because they're like, well, when I came through the industry, and I feel like we all have done this before. Like, well, when I was growing up, you didn't let me go stay out until past 9, 10 o'clock. You told me I had to be here before the street lights came on. I was 12, you told me I couldn't play with Barbies no more. When, I was 16, you told me I had to go out here and get a job. It's like I was held to a certain standard and certain requirements and things like that. There were certain things that I had to deliver under, and I did it, so why can't you? And although I'm very much of the same mindset, I do understand how sometimes you have to take a step back from that, because that can be very toxic sometimes. So I feel like that's what that adaptability is. I feel like there was a thing, a certain expectation he had of Cole. Cole didn't deliver on it, and he was just kind of like, well, what use are you, or why are you struggling to do this? Because when we was coming up, whoopty whoopty woo, we had to do this, we had to do A B C X Y Z. Like, why can't you do it? Why is it so hard for you? Why did you fail at this? So I can see that's sort of something that's coming up here. Oh, submission and independence are also the other underlying energies here. Yeah, I think J. Cole kind of bucked back a little bit, and I think that was to like a request or a requirement that Jay wanted, and things went south. Again, I don't know if it's something with like a feature, some kind of deliverable, a brand deal, a dealing of some sort, a contract. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like the root of it here. You didn't follow through or do something that I told you or I wanted you to do, or I was testing you and you failed the test, kind of thing, J. Cole. And so yeah, that was sink or swim for you, and you sunk. So I'm about to move on. I'm about to move accordingly. And I think J. Cole was hurt by that, and of course he's seen it a different way. Like, why we playing all these games and stuff like that? That's not it. So yeah, I am learning something. I am learning a lot here today. Again, I can see why some people would hate him for that. Also, I try to put myself in the shoes of Jay-Z as well, and just being like, hey, I can see why he would grow frustrated or not want to deal with certain people, or why he moves a certain way that he does. Now, let's see how he feels about the public sentiment. He feels tied up a little bit. Which way should I go? That was a lot. I was trying to see what this one was. Oh, protective. And what was these that feel? Wants an apology. Look, stop being concerned with who I'm in bed with, who I'm dealings with. Stop worrying about my private life. Just let it be about the art. And then we have I kind of want to move on from this, but people aren't moving on from this. Let's see if that's actually supposed to stick. I want to. Yep, that bear. He is very protective of his. I am inclined to believe with oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. But Joe Budden and oh my god, what's his name? Lamont Hill. I think it is. Is it Lamont Hill? Mr. Hill. I'm really believing what those two said. They spoke volumes when they said the reason why they kind of avoid certain conversations or topics in regards to Jay-Z is because they know they're gonna quickly get those phone calls. They were kind of just confirming what Jason Lee was saying, like, y'all act like Jason Lee was basically saying something to the tune of like Jay-Z and Beyonce act like they're above stuff, like they don't hear things, but they very much be watching the clock and what people say and do to them. And they're very quick to try to get their people, their reps, or they themselves, mostly Jay-Z, will call you and be like, hey, well, why did you say that? Why did you do that? Why did you think that private conversation had to be public? Or, they'll send Miss Knowles out to say something. I think he is very protective of his brand, his image, because he knows it's very important to how he sells or makes money. He is a gatekeeper for a reason, like a literal gatekeeper. If people don't favor him, that's going to tank a lot of his brands. That's going to bar him from a lot of rooms he's going to be in. People are not going to see him as a useful. confidant, as a useful tool. And what I get with this Lily, I'm kind of getting something like appeasement. Yep, that's got to um clear the elephant, address the elephant in the room without actually addressing the elephant in the room. Let me quell or settle down this public ire that I'm kind of getting. Look, that companionship card. I am inclined to believe this is a double entendre. It has multiple meanings here in regards to, I think it's something to do with his relationship with Beyonce, her gearing up to release her part 3. And I think it's also the partnerships and relationships he has built with certain businessmen and mogul that he is trying to make sure he stay in lockstep with. Yes, that's the word. Okay. I know these fell first. So first I have intuition. Funny enough, yes. Again, I know this intuition kind of leans into the incense with me. It's almost like that priestess energy. I'm very aware, and I've been keeping tabs on what people have been saying and how people feel. I can feel it in the room. I can see it in the way people move about things, how people kind of been distancing themselves, how, the internet has been kind of talking about things, and I'm starting to slightly see how it translates into certain dealings that I have, and I can't have that. Then we have the excitement. Coming up in reverse. I'm not excited. I don't think he wanted to do this interview, or he wasn't excited about how the public has turned on him, but that's public sentiment. Indecision, we're fickle people. And then we also have charity here as well. We have indecision and charity. Indecision and charity. Okay, I can see where the indecision comes up again. That pathway card. Feeling like you don't have that many options. You're kind of feeling backed into a corner. I tried to let this go on as long as I could in hopes that the 5 seconds would be up or the 15 minutes would be up. And this 15 minutes has turned into 15 days. The 15 days has turned into 15 months. And it's time for me to say something. And then we have the charity. Charity. Why would charity come up? What's the underlying energies? Ooh, extremism. I can see also why I feel like this is kind of leaning into his comment about why he said something in the interview, essentially to the tune of like battle rap. He doesn't know if it's necessary anymore because the way how it grows on the internet, how people are just so quick to be nasty, and it grows and it festers. I wonder if there's a concern there about that as well. Like, okay, follow my train of thought. I wonder if there is slightly, maybe a small concern, small percentage there that he is concerned that if he was to say, like, say he was to get into a battle rap with somebody today, they could come up with a lot of lies or conspiracies about him. And because the red lines are connecting and people see the dots, and people are very conspiracy brained right now, and because people also just kind of like has the winds of change has happened around him. Essentially, he's kind of going through a wheel of fortune moment here. It kind of seems like he's going through a downturn, at least looking at the internet. I wonder if there's a concern here, like somebody could say some false stuff about me and a false narrative, and they can run with it, and I will lose the war or the battle essentially, because people would rather hear what they think is true rather than what's actually facts. So I wonder if there's a concern here. I'm gonna say yes because my candle started flickering as I said that. It feels like there's something there about that of like I think that needs to change because the way culture has shifted right now, there's very much a concern of like somebody could just run with lies and has run with lies. You know, I feel like this is in his energy here of like some people have run with lies about me and people were quick to believe it. And so I got to change things up. I got to remind people. Oh, yeah. See, friendship and then patience. Mm. Friendship and patience. Why does I feel like that has something to do with Kanye? I could be wrong, but that feels like that has something to do with Kanye. And I'm not about to get into that. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Now let's get into. Yes, I know people are really waiting for the Nikki question, but I want to see what is going to be his offensive, and then we'll get into the Nikki thing. Because I know there's probably like the big one people are waiting on. But I want to see what Jay-Z has planned for 2026 for his offensive strategy. What is Jay-Z's offensive strategy for 2026? What's Jay-Z's offensive strategy for the year 2026? Ooh. When I seen the stork, I thought immediately something with his family. Maybe he's going to try to lean in or play up the family man thing here. But then, and now I'm confused because we have the pathway card here again. That's like feeling unsure, or maybe he kind of knows which way he want to go, but maybe not how to execute it. And then we have the star card here again. It's coming up in reverse. This is like not feeling hopeful about something, maybe needing some guidance. Maybe he's still percolating on how they want to move forward, or they're always in the midst of planning something, rolling it out and then adjusting as need be quickly. Because one thing Rock Nation is good at is marketing, okay? Love them or hate them. And yeah, he's definitely about to clear some things out or clear some people out with this instance here. The instance makes me think of like cleansing things out, clearing things out. Um, his family, maybe not knowing which way to go about that. Is this like allegedly? I hope this isn't desperation. Is that what the feeling is? I hope this isn't desperation. Oh, look at that. We have the letter. This to me usually rings of like smells of like contracts. It could be information, but usually when I get it in readings like this is dealing with kind of like contracts, deals, collaborations, faith. What is he not feeling strongly about? He feeling it's not gonna work. And then we also have anchor coming up in reverse. I kind of feel stuck, but I don't. I feel like people are kind of keeping me stuck in a certain space and not allowing me to move forward. We have not pulled up anchor. Ooh, look at this. There's a big obstacle. What? Is this a certain thing you want to do and he feels like it's being blocked? Hold on, I need clarity. Hmm. Okay, let me pause here. Immediately, ostentation, when it fell out, it made me think of I'm gonna make things appear like everything's good in my neighborhood. Everything is all good. We're afloat. Everything is love, and we're harmony and peace and joy. Live, laugh, love over here. But maybe that's not so much what's going on. Um, then again, maybe things are very ostentatious for him. Um, and I feel like another thing here, again, channeling something I'm picking up here. I wonder if there's something here where it's kind of like, dang, I lost it. I was honing in on it and then I lost it. Don't you hate when that happened? You go in the kitchen, you forgot what you was about to say? Or what you went in the kitchen for? This is very much what happening right now. The ostentation being here. Oh, yeah. I feel like there's something here with Jay-Z and kind of just like the sentiment that's going on right now, or what the perceived sentiment is about him right now, is making him lean even more so into his capitalistic bag. Well, y'all gonna talk all this about me whether I'm doing good or not, whether I try or not, whether I'm doing the bad thing or not, or I'm trying to correct it. I know y'all not gonna see it that way. I could speak the truth on it and you're still gonna drag me, or I could hide it and you're still gonna drag me. So it feels like he's just gonna lean more into his capitalist bag and just say, well, I'm a bitches to get money, okay? Like I don't care what y'all doing. Stay broke. What we have here, authority. Okay, I'm interested. Why is authority coming up in reverse, but assertion is coming up in the upright? Is he afraid of being like knocked out the throne? Does he feel like somebody is coming for his spot? So he's it kind of feels like he's fighting for everything he got to stay in his spot, his space. I don't know what that is, but I feel like that's where the assertion very much feels like Five of Wands kind of energy to me. Like I'm gonna fight tooth and nail for what everything I feel like I'm owed and what I am actually owed. And I'm gonna always make myself come off as if it's almost like his hubris, but maybe it's more so just like I'm gonna always make myself seem like I'm winning, like I'm shining, like things are okay, even though things may not be behind the scenes. Something about I feel like something about his belief, his hope, his idealistic side of things or something feels pretty shaken right now. Okay, I'm not gonna try to dig deeper into that. I'm gonna move on to the big part, which is why didn't Jay address Nikki during this interview? Okay. Oh, okay. There's two cards that fell here. Oh, goo 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 goo. Oh shoot. Oh sugar. Okay, y'all gonna hear me drink really quick. Oh, that burner sizzle the back of your throat every time. Okay, and then the other card we have. Who is this man? This could roughly be like a King of Hearts kind of energy, a very emotional man, or maybe not an emotionally stable man. It could be Nikki's energy. Who knows? Okay, but The heart. Why did he decide in the market? I'm getting something like the emotional buy-in around that is just too much. The emotional buy-in around that would be too much. My party card is coming up in reverse. The obstacle card is coming up in reverse, and so is the anchor card. Okay, this isn't clear for me, but this is something I feel like I'm picking up on. Allegedly, I think there's something here where he feels like because so many allegations have been launched at him in regards to Nikki, and because they tie in into so many other stories, people, events, locations, incidents, whatever the case may be, there would have to be a whole nother interview. Like I would rather address that, or if I did address that, it's pulling a thread on a very large rug, and I'm gonna have to. It's gonna unravel a lot of stuff, whether it's stuff that I can recall explicitly or not, excuse me, whether it's things as truth or not, like it's gonna dive into a whole nother uh rabbit hole that I'm not sure I'm ready to even I'm not even ready, I'm not sure or ready to even address at this time. I'm not sure if the public is ready to follow me on that. It could be leading into things where it's like it's gonna rehash certain things, or I don't know, like I want to say maybe legal matters that I can't even address to kind of like negate and or confirm some of the things that she has stated. Like it's just gonna be messy. It's a mess, and I don't feel like I can kind of get into it um wholeheartedly or honestly without and the public actually receiving and hearing what I'm saying without this becoming something that can potentially stain me. So why address it at all? Um, and I feel like if there is something in the future for where he's going to address this, it's going to be very much, which I highly doubt. It's going to be. I feel like it's going to be in a manner where he feels like he can get some kind of uh return of investment on. Like maybe it'll be an exclusive interview on title or something. I don't know. Or I know he doesn't own it anymore. I think he still owns a stake in it. I'm not sure. But or it'll probably be something like his album or a collab album that he does, or something. It just feels like I had to try to control this, and if I'm going to address it, I'm going to address it in a certain way where I'm going to get some kind of return of investment on me putting any kind of energy or time towards this to even address it. That's more so what I feel like is coming up here. Like it would be a headache to even start um talking about that. But let me move these to the side really quick and let's see if I can get any clarity. To rebellion. And this is something else I feel like is coming through too. And I'm surprised at this myself. I think there is a part of Jay-Z that loved platonically. I don't think it was like in a romantic way, but that loved and or still now kind of respects Nikki for like what she has done and what she has accomplished, how she's moving in a certain way or how she has moved in the past. It kind of feels like there's a certain um part of her that he remember, or a certain time of her life that he vividly remembers about her. And he's like, I loved when she was that person. I don't like the person that she is now, or that she has evolved into, or that she has evolved into this person that kind of like distaste, has such a strong distaste for me. But there's still some kind of like, I would say respect or something there from his end. But it's very much some things of like, I also don't respect you at the same time because of how you have moved and did certain things to make my life hard as well, if that makes sense. And with this rebellion card coming out, it kind of makes me feel like he sees her as like, you're just lashing out, you're a child lashing out at this point. And it could have been so different. Oh, I had a lot popping out for the market. Discrimination, authority, and then submission. Again, I I don't understand this. Why does he feel like the long and short of what I'm getting with these three is that I feel like Jay-Z feels like people are supposed to do certain things the way he say he does, as if other people don't have free thought, or people don't have their own ideas or ways of doing things. Like it's more than one way to skin a cat kind of sitch here. Like, why do you think you have control over people and they supposed to do every little thing that you say? That's not how humans work. I would think you would understand that because you wouldn't want to do something somebody tell you to do if you didn't want to do it, or if you felt like you knew a better way, or if you did know a better way. And I think he also feels like she's very unappreciative of the doors or the partnerships, the help that he has provided for her. Like, you're ungrateful. Mm. Yeah, see, in the criticism card, it's funny that that's coming up, but oh, that makes sense too. Isolation and criticism. I think he is hoping the internet is going to do the work for him, or that she's going to do the work for him, where he's not going to really have to lift much of a finger to go after her or speak down about her, because she seems to be pretty much doing that on her own. If you haven't been aware, if you've been under, if you've been thankfully unplugged from online and away from certain things because you're just trying to protect your peace, to me, this kind of feels like um allegedly, because I'm not sure, but I feel like the feeling that I'm picking up on is that you're doing a pretty good job all on your own, Nikki, destroying your reputation and your brand, and the perception people have of you because of the whole, PDF file relations that you have in your family, the narrative that has been spun about you, and the multitude of people you don't get along with in the industry, especially when it comes to other females. Some of them I wholeheartedly get her on. I understand. I would probably do the same thing. I would crash out too. There's also a thing here of like, you've done a perfect job and kind of like, kissing up to the current president right now, and people have been dragging you through the mud for that, and doing the TPUSA views and things like that. Like, you have been doing a pretty good job yourself, destroying your image and your reputation. I don't think I have to add to that, and I shouldn't add to that, because again, it's just gonna, like, it's fanning the flames. It's giving you credibility, as if I should. I'm throwing what they call it. I'm throwing starts with an R. I feel like basically I'm throwing some credibility behind you if I address these things, and I'm not doing it. It's kind of like he's hoping to turn her into what is her name? A jaguar, right? If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. He's kind of like, I'm hoping you go the same way as her, where people don't really believe things that you say. I know it's probably going to take a while because she has a very avid fandom, very loyal fandom, but I think there's something here. He's just kind of like, I just want to isolate. I'm just gonna ice her out and let her continue to destroy herself. And I'll give a nudge here and there when, behind the scenes, when I need there to be a bit more spotlight on you, essentially. Acquisition. Do he have her documentary? Is that what he's holding over her head? Companionship comes up again, y'all. Those burned bridges, resourcefulness. Mm. He knows how to get under her skin. And then we also have publicity. I can destroy your publicity. You already are doing it. I just need to continue to add fuel where necessary. That's what I'm getting. Yeah. I think I have did more than enough questions. Hopefully that answered a lot of your burning questions, because those were my burning ones there. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Let's talk about it, because I'm interested to know what you all thought about his GQ interview, if you saw it, or what your suspicions or your theories are into why his motive behind the interview and him not addressing Nikki, or any other kind of light you could shed on certain things that I talked about during this reading. With all of that being said, I thank you so much. May you stay blessed for watching this video. Have a great day, evening, night, or wherever you are. If you would like to see more readings like this, make sure to give it a thumbs up and to hit that notification bell, selecting into all, so you can see the next time I upload. And with that, I wish you a great morning, evening, or night, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next one. I love when I flub up. Bye.